Hey everybody, welcome back to Church Talk. Are you in a smaller church, or maybe your church doesn't have the budget for the expensive microphones that you want or that you really need? Today we're going to be talking about some of the cheaper mics that we have purchased in the past and that we've used. And it's kind of a review of the microphones that we bought, but I don't want to say it's a review because it's really not, but I do want to share with you guys some microphones that we've purchased in the past and let you know, did they work well, or should we not have spent the money on them? So if you guys remember, one of the videos that I posted a while back was about the drum enclosure that we built, and we put all of our mobile gear in that drum box. Now, in that drum enclosure, we decided to go everything completely wireless, so that all we had to do was just put batteries in the mics, grab them, and take off. Very simple, very easy. And what we decided to do was, now in our personal ministry, before that, we have purchased some, they were called GTD audio. I'm going to let you guys see if you can see that. That's what that microphone looks like. It's not a bad mic, but it's on the cheaper end of the spectrum when it comes to wireless. Now, we got these things off of Amazon. They were about $150, I think is what they're running now. And so these particular ones, we used them and they didn't give us any problem. The main problem that they gave us was clipping. These mics tend to clip pretty easy, pretty quick. If you're used to something like a Sennheiser or an Audio-Technica or a Shure, they seem to be a little bit more flexible, but these microphones, they did tend to clip pretty quick and pretty easy. And from one of my friends who's a very good audio engineer, he told me that's one of the issues with your cheaper microphones, is that they will clip pretty easily. So that's the main problem that we had out of these mics. The ones that I'm holding here, this come in a dual. It was in a dual set, so we get two of them. And to get two microphones for $150, that's very, very cheap. And we use these when me and my wife would go sing. This was ours. We bought it with our personal budget, so we needed to keep things on the cheaper end. But when we were mobile as a church, we thought, well, we don't have a whole lot of money in this mobile ministry. We need something relatively cheap. So we thought, well, these things were decent for us in our ministry, so let's just go ahead and get the 4-pack of those. Now, I will tell you, you buy the 4-pack of this brand, the GTT brand, I would not recommend those. We bought it, and right off the bat, we had a microphone or two that wasn't working. We had to send it back. And we got 4 more mics that was exactly the same. And they worked for a little while, and they didn't last very long. We were needing to replace them. They done their job while we were mobile, but once we got into a building and our finances began to be a little bit better, we needed to upgrade pretty quick. Those mics, I would not recommend the 4-pack, because like I say, they felt a little bit different. These mics feel pretty good. They're not quite as heavy. They're not quite as sturdy as what you would, you grab a hold of your Shure Beta 87 or your Sennheiser, and you can feel the difference, and you can really hear the difference too. But when you got the 4-pack, both of them, the dual, which is the 2-pack, and the 4, both of them have 2 or 4 XLR out. So they are a true channel. They're not a shared type of channel like some of your cheaper microphones. They just have one output, and you've got 4 or 8 mics that are going into your receiver, and you have to mix them at the receiver, and you don't have control over them. So that's one thing you need to look for in your cheaper mics. But with the mics that had the setup that had 4 mics, they even felt cheaper. They didn't feel the same as the dual. I don't know why. They're the same brand. They look the same, but they had a different feel to them. They weren't quite as heavy. They didn't feel quite as firm. But if you're a church and you're looking at something, it's a little bit cheaper. These will get you by. But if you have a better budget than a couple $100, I would spend the $500 or $600 per microphone and get the cheaper name brand. I think microphones, that's one thing that you can't really cheap out on when you go wireless. My recommendation after using the cheaper mic versus using the corded mic was, I would highly recommend that you continue to use the corded microphones and use your $100 Shure 58s. And you're going to get a solid sound. It's going to be a good sound. You do have to go through, watching out for your cords, making sure that your cords aren't getting stepped on and things of that, getting tangled up, and all that's kind of a hassle sometimes, I know. But I would recommend staying with the corded mic rather than going with the cheaper mic if you can. I'll say cheaper mic. I would stick with the corded Shure microphone rather than going with a cheaper wireless microphone, such as like the GTDs. Like I say, these things got us by. They done okay, but if you're a strong vocalist, like myself, when I sing, sometimes I can get loud. I can these things wanted to clip with me and my wife. So these things have their limitations. For us as a ministry, we really needed to be, wireless just for our quick setup, our easy setup, that we weren't, messing with cords and things. So for us, it was worth it. It was worth the effort, worth the sacrifice of messing with that clipping. You can take care of the clipping in the audio if you have a tech who can take care of that, but these microphones do limit you. So are these worth it? Are the GTDs worth the price? Yes, they're worth $150, but it really depends on what you're going to be doing. If you're just talking into it, you're not shouting, you're not singing real strong, these things are going to be just great. They're not really actually what we have right now. Let me show you what the bass unit looks like here. So right now we have this unit you're looking at installed in our home studio, and we just use them as a talkback mic. I've found that when you spend the money and get better microphones, you have such better quality, but also understand that with smaller church budgets, sometimes you don't have the resources to go with a more expensive microphone. So like I say, my thoughts on these things is they will work in a pinch. They will get you by with what you need. But I would rather stick with my corded mic. And I'm somebody that if I will move around a lot, but if I'm playing guitar, of course, usually I am, the mic's on a stand anyway, so it doesn't matter. Now, my wife, she moves around a lot, so she almost really needs to have a cordless mic. That cord will get in her way. So if you have a worship team that kind of jumps around a lot, or they're excited, they dance or whatever, then maybe I would look at the cheaper mics rather than the corded mics. But if they can put a mic on a stand, if you're looking at going wireless versus a corded mic, and your budget isn't very much, I would stick with those corded mics. You're going to get a lot better service and a lot cheaper price. So when you decide you want to go wireless, at that point, that's when you really need to look at your budget and know that you're going to spend at least $500 to $600 per microphone when you start to go wireless. So I hope this helps a little bit. Some of you guys who are looking at should I buy a cheaper wireless? I know there's some other brands out there like Voco Pro. I think I've only used those a couple times at a few different churches we were at, and they're not as bad as what I thought they were going to be. I actually figured that those would be horrible mics because of their price point, but to my surprise, they sounded pretty good. They felt similar to like our Shure microphones. So in their weight and what they feel like, they feel hefty, and they did give a pretty good sound. But the drawback to that one, and for me or for a lot of churches, this is a drawback. Now for the guy that was using them, he loved them because this is one of those to where you got 8 microphones. It goes into the microphone receiver head, and you mix all those microphones right there, and it goes into one channel on his board. For him, that's what he preferred. It's what he wanted. But for a lot of churches, that's going to be really difficult. So you have to watch that. But guys, hopefully this was a help to you, and maybe it'd help you decide if you can put up with the clipping, or you're just going to buy it for some speaking mics, for a microphone that you can just be more mobile with, that no one's shouting in it, or no one's preaching really hard, or nobody is singing real hard in it. These cheaper mics will be just fine for that. But don't expect the same quality as you do out of the higher end microphones. So I know here lately I've been talking a lot about the tech part of things, but that's a major part of a lot of the questions. I'm in some groups on Facebook, and a lot of the questions that I see come across, and they're not aimed at me. They're just questions in the group. But a lot of those questions are about the tech side of ministry, because we do want to reach. We want to reach people with the message, and we want to present the gospel, and we want to present even the music and the worship that is coming out of our churches. We want to present that well to everybody online. So, but a lot of times when we're a smaller church, we don't have the budget to create the same outcome as a lot of the larger churches do, and some smaller churches, their live stream looks great, and some you can tell that they need some help. So this channel, I'm hoping that it just gives a little bit of insight, a little bit of a little bit of experience to maybe where you may be in your church, if you're looking at going wireless and you don't have the budget for the more expensive brands and the more expensive models out there. That, will these work? Sure, they will work, but will they work as well? Will they give the same service? Will they sound as good? No, don't expect the same sound. Maybe you know of a church pastor or ministry leader. They're looking at trying to go wireless, and they don't have a lot of money to spend, and they're saying, should I buy this or should I not? Send them this video so that they can hear my input of what we found with these mics, and see if it's something that would be good for them. Well, guys, thank you all for watching. If this is the type of content that you guys like, click the subscribe button for me so that you'll be notified whenever we put up another video. Make sure you share this video for me. Help me grow this channel. And let's reach as many churches as we can, so that we can all just kind of come together and learn and grow from each other, so that things that I've went through I can share with you guys. And then in the comments, you guys can comment and share your knowledge with others who are watching, and also with me, so that I can continue to grow. And because there's so much that I don't know that I'm finding out, I'm figuring out, and I'm learning. But this channel is just here just so that we can all kind of learn together. So help me out and subscribe and share this video. So guys, that's it for today, for today's episode of Church Talk. We'll see you guys next time on Church Talk.